Shefsky here, and welcome to Fantasy House. This is the world's #1 make-believe real estate podcast. I love doing this show because every week we get to go on a guided tour through a different person's imaginary dream home. They're always pushing the limits with mind-blowing houses and weird technologies and magic and all that cool stuff. They make weird, unique rooms, and I ask them, I'm like, hey, could you come up with appliances and technologies that we don't even have so they can solve your very unique problems? People do that, and really it's just good old-fashioned creativity and silliness. Fantasy House podcast is NSFW. It's not safe for work, although we're super Mr. Rogers inspired. It's a lot more of an adult Mr. Rogers experience, so it's raw, it's honest. We talk about sex, drugs, people's bathroom habits. Sometimes people take us to dark places, and we're all about authenticity and really reigniting that carefree, playful spirit we had when we were 4 or 5 years old. Just fearless exploring of our imaginations and ourselves. Do you remember that? I love that. I feel like we need that as adults too. And that's what I want to facilitate with Fantasy House. I want to inspire people to explore that again, get that feeling, that little fire lit inside for story time and imaginary make-believe time and just being ourselves. And it really is a great time. In Nathan Hurd's episode, he has a zero gravity room. So you just go in the room, flip a switch, and you're floating around. Jade Catapretta has a lazy river going through her fantasy house that has sexualized dolphins in it. Fifi Dosh has a private hot tub on top of a private mountain in her backyard. John and Tom from Chad Goes Deep, their fantasy house is actually a cloud that floats around like an RV in the sky. So they can go anywhere they want. Nick the plumber, he's got a live studio audience. So when he's with his family and he drops the punchline of one of his dad jokes, he gets a real applause. Joel Jimenez loves to cook, and by the way, is an amazing cook. But in Joel Jimenez's fantasy house, he doesn't want to clean up. He hates cleaning up. Loves to cook, hates cleaning up. Well, he's got a kitchen that washes itself. In episode 94, Mike Ishak's kitchen is just a portal to his aunt's Indonesian kitchen, so he can have ringdung anytime he wants, which I've never had ringdung in real life, but we had it on his episode imaginarily, and if it's anywhere as delicious as it is fun to say, it's got to be good, right? Ringdung. Jeremiah Watkins did a Halloween episode, and his toilet paper dispenser is a mummy that you just unwrap and wipe your butt with. Nat Baymel doesn't even have a bathroom. Speaking of bathrooms, he simply has a wizard. Anytime you need to go, the wizard appears and just makes your bowels empty. Just abracadabra, poof. Or poop, poop, poof. So cool, right? Every episode is brought to you by me, Jon Shefsky. I am your local Southern California realtor. Not just a fantasy realtor. No, a really real realtor. And I would love to help you with anything real estate related, whether you're thinking about buying a house, selling a house, maybe you're interested in why I love multifamily apartment buildings, any of that. I would love to be of service. And if you're thinking, John, I don't care about real estate at all, that's great. But I know you know someone who does. And you got to let them know. You got to say, hey, before you go making any moves, you got to talk to my boy, Jon Shefsky. He's a really real realtor, and he would love to be of service. And I really would. And even if you're not in SoCal, I can still help you because I have a referral network all over the country with some fantastic agents, and it's growing all the time. So check in with me. Let me know, because I got agents in Nashville, in Chattanooga, Austin, Texas, Boise, Idaho, Phoenix, Arizona. I got you covered. And like I said, that list is just growing. So just think of me when you're thinking of real estate. Be like, I'm going to hit Shefsky up before I do anything. Just send me an email, fantasyhousepodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to be of service or help in any way. When I first got involved in real estate investing, I thought it was going to be super boring and that no one would have any personality. And I got to tell you, there are some awesome people that you meet in this world that you become friends with, that you have good jokes with, and it's just a blessing, and it's so much fun. So today I got one of those friends on here. Erwin Sham is with us today. He's a short-term rental owner and just an all-around fun dude to riff with and talk with. So I'm very excited. Now, in the words of the great Angelo Bowers, let us do this!
Won't you take it on a ride over to your fantasy house? You're the host with the most experience guest in your fantasy house. Get all the money for expensive construction. The only limit your imagination. You're the rental tour of your fantasy house right now.
You gotta look at life on the positive, man.
I agree, man. It's very easily too with modern tech with how much we're on our phones and the internet. The memes on the internet, I feel like influence us even outside of people talk about Russia and China interfering and trying to destabilize by sending us a bunch of stuff that makes Americans hate each other. Just our memes alone that we make are so depressing that, you talk to people all the time. I'll talk to people all the time. They're like, the world is in such a terrible shape. And then you'll go, well, the statistics actually don't show that the world's in absolutely terrible shape. We're actually doing some really good things, but a lot of people don't want to hear it, but I want to hear it. I think it's our duty to be optimistic and positive so that we can keep on trucking even when things look like they're awful.
Yeah. Well, yesterday was pretty bad for everybody, right?
What was yesterday?
The Facebook, Google, and the whole internet being almost down.
I thought that was good for everyone, dude. I was like, "Fuck yeah!" My thumb was just like it was like a phantom thumb. Like it looked up at me, like, "John, can we go on Instagram and get the dopamine rush?" And I was like, "Calm down, thumb. We don't need that. We need to go outside and go for a walk."
Like, what's outside, John? When?
Yeah. My thumb was deciding exactly. It's like outside for a walk. I'm pretty sure there's an Instagram page called that. We can just look at it. Have you been keeping up with crypto?
Yeah, definitely. I knew about crypto back in 2014, 2015.
Yep.
So I actually knew about Bitcoin fairly kind of early, not as early as some other people that kind of knew about it, but I did know about it around there. Then I kind of got in, like most things, life happens and you just kind of put things to the side and like, I'll check back into it in a few years, whenever I can.
Totally.
And then you're like, all of a sudden it's like 2018, like, what the fuck?
Dude.
This $300 coin is now what?
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, I almost bought, and I've told the story, so I apologize to my listeners that have had to hear this story probably 20 times now for my Bitcoin bonus episodes. But, dude, I almost bought thousands and thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin when it was 200, I think it was either 200 or 250 each. And I had a shopping cart full of them, and I talked myself out of it. It was years and years ago. I wasn't confident. I was at that point where you think other people know what they're doing, but I don't. And then you get older and you don't realize, oh, we all know what we're doing. You realize, oh, no one knows what they're doing. But at the time, I didn't end up purchasing. I literally left it in my cart. Got a phone call or went to go have dinner with friends and came back and never followed through. And years later, being like, damn, I would have been maybe not filthy rich for today's standards, but like pretty comfy even in California. And I didn't do it, man. But I've been into Bitcoin since Antonopoulos was on Rogan, probably 2013 or 14.
Yeah, Antop is one of the most legit guys in the space, and if you don't follow that guy, you're not learning. And I think in this space in crypto, you got to learn what's behind the actual mechanics of it so that you can understand why crypto is so powerful.
Okay, well, if you want, and I agree, if you could sum it up for the layman's or people that are still on the fence about it, why is it so powerful? And I'll try not to interrupt you a million times because I'm still learning. I'm trying to give myself little lessons. I snap my knuckles with bamboo every time I'm talking. I'm like, whoosh, shut up. Be a good listener, John. All right. That was an interruption in itself. All right, go on.
So it just basically takes the power out of these big companies that are these big traditional banking companies.
Yeah.
So like Bank of America, Chase, all these big guys, right? They're all corporations. They make the decisions of where your money goes and how much your money earns and what even it can even go so further like with with crypto is there's a specific value assigned to it. So just like with the dollar, we say, oh hey, this piece of paper is actually worth $1. They got together, a bunch of people said, okay, here's a piece of paper that's worth $1. Same exact thing with Bitcoin. It was like, oh, hey, this is exactly, at that time, it was like, oh, hey, this is this is free. Like, hey, if you use your computer and you mine this, you can actually turn this into like $10 or $5.
Yeah.
What's so great about it was people saw the value in crypto to basically change their lives. They kind of saw the future of what it could be, and I think we're still very early in crypto. And like the biggest country, I think the biggest one right now is El Salvador, and their whole move in actually adopting, BTC as a legit currency.
Yeah.
Because they actually realized, like, hey, people are using this. Why not accept it and get tax money from it? Instead of trying to ban it or try to saying, oh, hey, you guys, it's illegal. I think as we go further and further as crypto starts to explode and get more mainstream, we're gonna see we're gonna see more and more come out, and we're gonna also see the government come out with their own, which gonna be oh, hey, they're already talking about like, hey, we want to make a digital coin, a digital dollar. So everybody's gonna move towards crypto. It's just
guaranteed.
If the government had a chance, really, like in the early years, to kind of stomp down on it, but they never took the chance. And by the time they realized that the movement was too powerful, there was too much money. There was way too much money behind it. People were making way too much money. It was too late, basically. For them to actually do anything about it. And like, sure, you can, there's countries like China where they're just banning Bitcoin, banning Amazon, banning Facebook. But in reality, what they're doing is they're banning one thing and then they're creating their own thing.
Oh yeah.
So they're like, hey, we'll ban, WhatsApp, but then they got WeChat. Like, so it's not, it's all about, they're trying to control they don't want the people to uprise the government. So, and that's what I think a lot of people don't realize is that, crypto gives you a lot more freedom, and then it can get to a point where their governments are scared of it becoming too powerful, because I think as more and more people start to wake up to the fact that these things are actually assets that can help produce income or even possibly take over a government or a Federal Reserve type of thing.
Yeah, so it becomes more powerful than them being at the top of the game and then saying like, well, this is actually better and people are using it. And they're like, what? But I feel like if the government comes out with their own coin, are they going to do like I don't know if you know anything about this, but like one of the best things about Bitcoin is so cool is that it's finite. So you can't inflate it. So it only goes up in value rather than down in value. And, I don't know if they got that or if they're going to do that with the government coins. That's a huge appeal, I think, to the Bitcoin.
No.
Like, hey, we can't inflate the way the government can screw things up and just print and devalue our money right in our own savings accounts. Bitcoin, you can't do that. However, Bitcoin's extremely volatile, which is also interesting with El Salvador making it their currency. It's like, it's not stable to be like this whole like dollar versus Bitcoin. It's like, no, we still should have the dollar because the dollar is fairly stable. But Bitcoin's got this, I don't know, there's something magical about it.
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So the good thing is like, Bitcoin is basically gold, right?
Yeah.
We compare it to, everybody compares it to gold. So, and we know we know gold holds its value, and it also raises itself in value, right?
I mean, it just goes up.
It just goes over years. It's gone up, and there's been some down times where it's actually sold off, right? It's the same thing with Bitcoin. It's gonna do the same type of moves, and anything. If there's definitely room for stable coins, and we've seen it in crypto that, there's Tether, there's, USDC. Those are more stable coins. But we're also seeing some funny things in these so-called stable coins. They're not exactly 100% stable.
Not so stable, are you now? Yeah, not so stable now. Yeah, totally.
Yes.
But nothing is when you look at that.
Correct. Correct. Like the dollar is not really a dollar, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's a spooky too. When you think about how much consensus of our culture is just consensus agreement to give something value, and then you go, God, I mean, that's why economics gets more fascinating to me when I get older too, because when I was younger, I was like, it's just numbers and money, and who cares about that stuff? I care about people and interesting stuff. But it's like, no, it's all tied together. Like the psychology of all these things, these numbers and maybe boring graphs kind of stuff is like, it's tied into like all of our agreements, our consensus agreements to what these things are as value and how they interchange. Do you have any prediction for Bitcoin? I was watching an interview with Raoul Paul about it, and he's talking about it going to 400K by the end of the cycle, which they predict the cycle is going to be, first quarter of next year, which is like a huge jump to.
He's not crack, bro.
Dude, 400K. Whoa.
He's on crack.
Yeah. He's on crack. What do you think for Bitcoin?
This year, I'd say probably 100K. If it doesn't hit 100K by the end of this year, we're gonna probably, I'd say 100K by the end of the year, and then we're gonna end up in a 2-year cycle again of being in a bear market.
Which is exciting for the people that feel like they missed out, and it's just like skyrocketing because maybe they can purchase. A side note, if you're listening to this, I've had so many people reach out to me about this. Friggin' Bitcoin's $50,000. I can't afford to get in. It's like, well, and this isn't financial advice, obviously, as anyone knows listening. This is entertainment, but you can buy a couple dollars out of a Bitcoin. You can get, Satoshis, which is, the pennies of Bitcoins. So if you're thinking, oh, it's too late, it's like, no, you can still buy in. You can still be part of Bitcoin with a few bucks, even if it's $100,000.
Yeah, I mean, when's the last time you could buy, a $50,000 car with only $10?
Yeah, you can just throw in $10 towards Bitcoin. Probably, I mean, it depends how excited you are about it. Bitcoin, Ethereum, I mean, Shiba Inu is it's insane what's happening with that because, everyone's hoping it goes to a penny and so they can make a ton of money on it. But there's trillions. The supply is in hundreds of trillions. It's I don't even know if there's hundreds of trillions of dollars, dog. So they have to. There's such a far way to go with these things, but they're still inspiring and exciting to be it's empowering people. The make believeness of money has become at people's fingertips with their phones.
I think. Well, the thing is, a lot of people don't realize the most important thing about all these coins. There's a thing called market cap. So, Bitcoin has the largest market cap. And if you have to look at the market cap. So if the market cap for Bitcoin is only, $1 trillion or so, right? How much of a market cap does Bitcoin need to move for these other coins to rise in price? So I don't think a lot of people kind of understand that. And there's
explain that a little bit more, because I'm one of those people. So you're saying.
So
I don't think a lot of people, including John, right here in front of me.
So currently, I think currently looking at the market cap. So So right now there's currently, for Bitcoin, there's about 1 trillion. Let me see. Is this 1 trillion or 1 billion? Let's see here. 1, 2, 3 commas. So that's 1 trillion.
Oh, it's a trillion? Wait.
Yeah. So.
No. Because a million's 2 commas. Right?
No. There's 4 commas. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
4 commas. Talk about that trillion.
Yeah. So Bitcoin has a 1 trillion market cap. So, and compare that to Ethereum. Ethereum has a 422 billion market cap. And then you compare that to something like a Cardano, where it only has 71 billion. So I think what most people don't realize is these market caps correlate with the price and how much they can actually go up and what's actually needed to go up in value. So if, like, if something like Shibu, right? Or you take another Shiba Inu, market cap currently is 11 billion. Or 11 million, right? It's a million?
It's more than 11 million. I don't know what the cap. Let's see if I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, I think it's 11 million or something. Looks like market cap of 11 million.
Market cap for Shiba is 9 billion.
Yeah. So.
But the circulating supply is 395 trillion. So those numbers, every trillion is 1,000 billions, and every million is 1,000 millions. So something I've been trying to wrap my head around in explaining this to myself and to a couple people in my life is that the hoping that it gets to 1 cent is several things need to happen. One being mainstream adoption.
Mm-hmm.
So that I hate to reuse this word all the time, just like we reuse bring value in the investment world. Just bring value. The other the term that you hear all the time in currencies and whatnot is what do you call it? I apologize. I'm blanking on it. The branding, I guess you could just say, is just like a term you hear in our culture all the time. Branding. But it really does come down to branding. Like, is it mainstream? Do people, if you talk to your mom and dad about it, a 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old person, are they like, oh, yeah, I'm aware of that? Like, branding. But if you talk to a young person that's not in your generation, a 15-year-old, a 20-year-old, a 25-year-old, do they know what you're talking about as well? It's like when everybody's talking about it like Coca-Cola, you're like, oh, that's mainstream. Like, that is recognition. It's being traded. And the other thing is that the supply needs to come down. You can't have trillions, you can't have hundreds of trillions and expect it to be worth a lot of money per, because there's literally just not enough money in circulation to buy that many in those trillions. However, the big talk, and I'll just let everyone know that's probably listening to this that maybe doesn't keep up with crypto, the big talk with Shiba is that because of the mainstream adoption, there are a lot of experts in the field and people, power players, that are saying they're planning on burning a bunch to bring that supply down. So burning it means to literally, like, I guess in simple terms, throw them into the trash bin, delete them, so that you have less Shiba Inu. So if they bring those numbers down, it starts to bring the values up, similar to what you have in something like Bitcoin, where the supply will max out at a certain amount, and you're like, oh, the value just goes up and up and up. So they want to do that to the Shiba. So if that happens, I mean, no one knows. But those are the two big things: mainstream adoption and the burning of supply to bring that circulating supply down. And it's a very long way to go, because we're in the hundreds of trillions of Shiba Inu coins, to bring it down to where you're like, oh, these are worth $1 each. Like, you'd have to burn off a lot. And my thing is like, if you have these investors that even just in the last week, we had a $40 million whale buy Shiba coins, $40 million worth. Well, today, just quick and dirty, that's worth more than $100 million, because Shiba's more than doubled. So to that entity, that institution, or that very wealthy person, whatever that entity is it in their best interest to burn off any of these, because they just more than doubled their $40 million. So to me, I'm like, that's a little risky. I don't want to burn any of it. I just doubled 40 million to 80 million or 100 million. So we've got a long way to go if someone or something or these entities are going to want to burn it off. But that's a big possibility because we're already tackling the mainstream adoption.
Yeah, definitely. And then, so there's definitely a lot of big players in crypto. And there's a lot of what we call whales, right? These guys that have been in crypto for years and that just amassed a crazy amount of money that can kind of game the system, like, just like how people game Wall Street, right? They're like, oh, they have these huge hedge funds and billionaires or, millionaires just go and tell their financial advisor, like, hey, go buy me X amount of stock or like, oh, hey, there's insider trading. Same kind of things happen in crypto. It's still the wild, wild west.
Oh yeah.
There's classic pump and dumps.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, like
every fucking interview I listen to, I'm like, is it a fucking pump and dump? Like everybody that's like, good, this stuff is great. It's gonna double. It's gonna triple. It's gonna do this and that. You're like, are you just saying that so that I buy a bunch of it and the price goes up? Like, do you really? That's the problem with the internet now. It's like everyone has their incentives that you're like, is the incentive to bring truth and honesty to this conversation, or is the incentive to just get people to buy certain things, to watch your video, to click? I mean, I see it in YouTube. I have a YouTube channel now, and I've got some friends that are showing me like how to get people to watch your YouTube, and some of the things that like you're supposed to do is like, well, somebody already made a video about that. They're like, that doesn't matter. If someone wants to see your video on that, it's like, but that's not what I'm passionate about. Doesn't matter. That's what people want to see. And you're like, what's the incentives here? And I feel like that with the Bitcoin world or just the crypto world in general a lot is like, are you telling me this because you want to inform me and you want me to follow you because this is what you're passionate about, or are you just trying to fucking pump and dump, bro?
It's a little bit. I think it's a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
man.
I think it's wishful thinking. I think a lot of these people stand behind what they believe in, but it's also just like.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like, it's a little. Well, with Bitcoin with Bitcoin, there's definitely a hardcore group Bitcoiners, and the same thing with some of all these other coins, right? They just like, oh, hey guys, we're going to the fucking moon.
Oh yeah.
Like, like Shiba, for example, like, let's go, it's going to $1 next year.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. It's like, no, bro. You know how much money that's gotta flow into Shiba to get it to like 1 cent?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a hopeful, exciting premise, and no one knows what the future holds. And some of these problems, like the burning of Shiba, is like, well, it's just a numerical, like a practical problem that like it could be solved. Like that could be, they could get enough together to agree to do it and fix it. And if there's enough incentive for some of these institutions that, I think in any kind of investing, you just always hope that the institution gets in a little late, because then you have incentives by people that are not initial hodlers with a ton of stake in the game that want to keep messing with stuff to bring the value up. Because the initial investors in Bitcoin, even, like, is a great example, right? If you invested in Bitcoin when it was 20 cents and you're worth $900 million right now because you have a few of them, you don't want to change anything about Bitcoin so that you can get more rich. You just want to hold on to that and not risk losing it. But if you're an institution that just got involved in Bitcoin when it was $20, $30, $40, $50,000, then you're like, you want it to go up to $400,000. You want it to go to $1 million. So you're going to have more of an incentive to make the changes, so that those of us that didn't jump in when it was brand new, just like with Shiba, are like, well, hopefully the institutions are not already filthy rich off of this, and they're going to, they're going to want to burn stuff off. But no one knows. I mean, there's that asteroid that's supposed to be coming into the solar system next year. We just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely brought up, just look at PayPal. PayPal bought Bitcoin at, I think, $20,000.
Oh, yeah.
Per coin. So, like, they've got their best interests in too. And like, if Bitcoin does hit, towards that high 100K mark, you better believe that, they're going to take, their initial investment back and, and then just let the, either, keep it or reinvest or, even potentially selling, all of it off. But, I think for individual everyday person that's trying to look and or just getting aware of crypto, some of the best things, to look at would be like definitely Bitcoin, Ethereum, those things, those 2 coins alone have consistently gone up over time. And then obviously there's going to be those sell-off time, those massive sell-offs, right? So the best time to get any of, crypto would be like when everybody's not talking about it. When there's like, hey guys, do you remember Bitcoin when it was 100K? But Bitcoin is now like what, 3K, right? So if you see when the bear market comes, that's going to be I would say like the best time to stack up, because the cycle is going to happen again. It's going to generally, bear market in cryptos lasted 2-3 years every cycle so far. So I think the next cycle is going to be the same. A lot of crypto people that kind of watch this, and we're trying to move out of the way, by like November or December. And then usually around January is when you would see like Bitcoin at the highest point. So like the last time was 2018 where it hit that 20K. So I think the same thing is going to happen this year, where Bitcoin is going to be at its all-time high of like, possibly 100K around December, January time. But right after, it's just, right around January, February, it's just going to dump like massively. And it's happened. If anyone's looked at technical analysis, you can see, based off history, this is what typically happens.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so interesting to try to time it. I think so many people do try to time it, and I time and time again, no pun intended. The people that I know that are always trying to time the market, they seem to have great luck than awful luck, and it's much better to like stay calm and just don't get wrapped up. And as Raoul Paul says, he's like, most people actually are not going to stay calm, and they're going to get wrapped up. They're going to buy high when everyone's excited, and they're going to think it's going to keep going up. That's when it crashes. Then they're going to sell, and they're going to be real bummed. So hence the reason you even have bull and bear markets. Such a huge part of it is just the psychology of people doing that. But it's interesting to me because I'm not excited to buy when the price is up or when it's going up. I'm like, ooh, that's freaking expensive. But when it's going down is when my natural like inclination is like, oh shit, like this is a good time to buy. Like I bought an Ether when they were down like really low. They were like in the like 2000s, and I was like, oh sweet, this is sexy. Like Ether's down, like, and it's clearly going to go back up. So it's the Ethereum. It's great, and it's going to be something at least for the next decade or so until something new or crazier comes out, right? Speculation, of course.
Definitely.
Like that's when it's exciting, is to buy on sale. Maybe it's because I'm Jewish. I'm just like, it's on sale. Grab it, get it. It's on sale. And when it's not on sale, you're like, oh god, it's expensive. But like, so to me, I have no problem. Like, oh dude, I don't want to sell it when it's at its high. I don't want to sell it when it's at its low. But I want to buy it when it's at its low.
Yeah, man. Like it's crazy. I mean, like I think it's definitely going to be definitely an interesting year. Just in general with crypto, because I mean, like everybody's gravitating towards NFTs, right?
Gravitating.
Yeah.
It's gravitating towards it. Yeah, I mean, NFTs also just so tied in with the crypto world are fascinating and have blown my mind how much they've gone for. I have a friend that basically, one of my buddies who I'm actually working on an NFT with, his friend sold, he had an original CryptoPunk, and I think he maybe had 2 CryptoPunks, and like just sold them. He's like our age. He's our age, and like just sold them. And was like, he's still keeping his job, but he basically has a nice retirement account set up now with millions of dollars in it because he had 2 fucking pixelated, like pixelated drawings that like anybody with Photoshop and a grid could draw. But dude, they went for millions. And again, this just adds to that interesting human psychology side of like the consensus agreement that we give value to make believe things. Like children, we give value to make believe things, but they can buy real world things.
Yes.
You can buy physical goods. You can buy food, shelter, all these amazing. You can buy assets like real estate, which you and I are both huge fans of, that go up in value over time and create a value for people and for society. You can buy them with a fucking drawing someone did in Photoshop for a fucking $1 million. Blows my mind. I'm not an expert in NFTs by any means, but definitely been fascinated about it. And my buddy Nick has got me into it because we did an NFT called Home Buddies, and their little houses. I drew them like 3D. I didn't draw them in 3D because I don't have a 3D program, but I drew them in Photoshop to look like kind of like when 3D was new, like in the United States music video, like how they look. It's just really blocky, like they used to be on video games. Where it's like it's blocky, but it's 3-dimensional block, so it felt cool. I just drew these like goofy houses, and we did a run of 10,000 of them. You know, the coder put an algorithm. What do you call it? Like a thing that puts all the
generative.
Yeah, it generates random things based on all these attributes that I made in Photoshop. And dude, it's really fun and silly and just a blast learning about it. But yeah, I cannot believe how much money is in that world. It's very interesting. If you're listening to this and you want us to tell you about NFTs, we don't have time today. But my God, very fascinating what's happening with the art world and just tokenizing in general is just
NFTs are like, it's a gateway drug, I think.
Nuts. My buddy sold one of his NFTs. Another one that like an artist gave away for free a year ago. He just sold it for I think 10 Ether when Ether was like at like 3,800 or something like that.
Yeah, I think
someone was begging him to sell it. He's like, "Oh, okay.
How much are you?
$40,000." And he's like, "Okay, it's a file, like it's freaking Photoshop, y'all." But somebody feels it has value.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example. So like my buddy spent like 1.4 ETH on a NFT. So that's about a good $3,000, $4,000. And then the day, literally after it launched, after the minting was done, and within 5 minutes, got a 6 ETH offer.
20 grand right there.
20 grand. Like, and they were like, I think I'll sit on this.
Yeah, because the boner that everyone gets off speculating like a fancy prospector, like, I'll only sell when it's worth 100 million. And you're like,
yeah,
damn. You don't get enough of a dopamine rush off of 20 grand to be like, they're going to sell that thing because like as long as you have food and like a blanket and some shirts, you're like, I don't need your 20 grand. I do need your 20 million. I'm holding it.
Yes. Exactly.
So
well, yeah, I mean, like, too, is like most of it kind of sucks, and it kind of sucks because a lot of new people in crypto don't have a lot of funds, right, to kind of go and to jump into some of these new NFT projects that keep on coming out.
Yeah.
So, one of the good things about NFTs is you technically can't. It's kind of harder to lose money versus in crypto. So like say, hey, like your project, like, hey, I'm going to sell this for, starting price at $300. So if I go and buy it for $300, the market, there's, the chances of it going below $300 are not as bad as like I buying Shiba and $300 of Shiba, and that goes dramatically down.
Yeah. So wait, do you think Shiba's going to go down dramatically?
No, I don't think so. I think
predictions are always fun.
Yeah, I don't think it would go down dramatically until the bear market. I mean, like right now it's a bull market. like Bitcoin's almost at 50K again.
Oh,
so,
it's past 50K. Are you kidding me? It broke that. What do they call it? The resistance of 50K? It's been at like 54, 55.
Yeah.
Are you not as what do they call it? Like impulsive? Like, let me just see where it's at right now.
With Bitcoin, I'm not as I generally check the whole crypto market, but I don't keep an eye on Bitcoin itself, because it's like, if it moves to 100K, I'm just like, all right, cool.
You'll know. You'll get some phone calls.
Yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. All right, yeah, I know. I'm like, I think you and a lot of guys in real estate have the same ideas as what a lot of people are looking for, is building passive income, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I think a lot of people don't realize is, even in crypto, you can have you want to build a passive income, and there's definitely multiple ways to do that in crypto. And when you have passive income in crypto, you just use crypto to make you more crypto. So you're never like, hey, I got to go to the bank and spend another $2,000 on this crypto and I'm just getting poorer and poorer, spending more of my hard-earned money on trying to, make a profit, versus when you use your own money to make you more money. Yeah.
I think that's fascinating, and I think that's one of the things you're hitting the nail on the head for me. It's one of the things that my family didn't naturally partake in through my life, and I think they weren't taught. I think there's a lot of middle class and like immigrants from certain areas. Like it's just not something. There's more of like a survival technique, and then you learn from other people, and luckily with the internet and just exposure to other human beings, I learned like, oh, like there are ways like. What's sexier than like a nice car? Like not being a slave. And there's so much about our society that like, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not saying it's anybody's intention, but just something about like a byproduct of our civilization is just being a slave to like your objects and your fanciness and your prestige. And to me, that stuff's like not sexy. And the things that are exciting is passive income, is like not being a slave, is being like, I still want to work. You still want to be of service, but not have commission breath, as we call it in real estate, where you're just like, I need this or else. It's like, you don't want to be that. And that to me is one of the huge appeals in life to like owning assets that produce some form of passive income. Is like, you don't have to be a rich asshole and just be a total monopoly top hat dickhead. But to be able to be like, if I don't get this next gig, it's not that big of a deal. Yeah, if I don't make a lot of money on this thing over here, it's not gonna. I can still like continue to like exist and be like, sheltered and fed, and to those of us with families, take care of our own shelter with our families as well, and feed our families. So I think to me that's the exciting thing about any of this stuff, is just to be able to not be a slave to your next paycheck or whatever it is.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I think that's why I think a lot of people are waking up to crypto too. They're like, oh, hey, I can make money here. Like, oh, hey, I'm actually struggling to make, ends meet with my 9 to 5, right? Oh, hey, but then they see on the news like, oh, hey, Bitcoin's 50K. Like, oh, hey, let me go mortgage my house now to, in the hope
that's scary. Is people that put like all of their money into one asset, and they're like, oh, it's like, don't do it. Don't. I think James Altucher says like put like no more than 1% or 5% of your total like net worth into any single asset, which not everyone can afford to do that. So if you're like worth $10,000, it's very hard to be like, well, just to put 1% of that in. It's like, well, you can't unless you're wealthy. Do it, but I think people do watch it and see like, oh shit. I mean, a great example is like, I've dealt with so many friends and loved ones over the last 3 years that have been kind of priced out of markets and kind of held back when markets have been competitive for buying homes. And what do you see in that? You see people that have most of their net worth in assets like real estate or crypto. You've seen their net worth go up. Meanwhile, people like a young couple that saved up $50K for their down payment,
have watched that money go down in value sitting in the bank as the houses are also going up. So it's not even just the excitement of jumping into something like that can provide passive income or major growth. It's just fucking keeping up with inflation and not having your money rot that is becoming more of like a safety than even an excitement of like, oh man, we're really making money. It's like you're not even making that much because inflation's happening so fast and it's probably not transitory, going to happen for the next couple of years. It's like, dude, if you have 50 grand in the bank, the money's fucking rotting. You're actually like, you thought you were playing the safe route. It's like, that's actually the most dangerous route. And a lot of people in the middle class are not taught that. I know people in my own family, like they don't even get that. You're like, do you realize like the money you've been working so hard to save, it's not even going. And I can't tell you like wholeheartedly, like you should buy this, you should buy that. I'm just like, pay attention, do your fucking homework. As the conspiracy theorists say, do your research. Because the money that you might be saving, it's rapidly decreasing in value, and there's no sign that that's going to slow down. I'm hoping it does. I really do hope it does, even at the cost of Bitcoin turning into $1 million a coin. I don't want people to suffer, including myself and my own family. But dude, it's inflating fast, dude. And what that means for the layman is like your money is not worth. You can't buy what you could buy with your money this year, what you could buy last year. So, just so our listeners know, because this isn't a visual podcast. Erwin's getting naked right now.
John's getting happy.
He's like, the conversation's heating up.
Yes.
Are you changing into a shirt that has like a Bitcoin logo on the front of it? You're like, I'm all in, bull. It's a bull.
All in, baby. All in Bitcoin.
All in. Dude, let's go to your fantasy house. Let's do this because we got to get going. Both you and I have we got appointments and meetings. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Take us to your fantasy house. Give us the like if we're flying an orange drone over and just with a camera, we're looking down. What do we see for the visual of your fantasy house?
It's kind of changed over the years. So, before I kind of wanted a bigger, big house, always, kind of got, like envision a mansion or envision, just normal stuff, man, like a mansion with a Lambo and all this, like, oh, hey, got the Lamborghini Cortege with a nice mansion. All the cool shit, like video games and all that stuff in there, pool table, the works, man. But, over time and getting into real estate, I think my values change and my visions change, and kind of living in California makes you change too. So it's one of those things like, oh, hey, you brought a great point is inflation, right? So, even like, what can $1 million actually get you? Right?
Nowadays, yeah, right?
So, like fantasy tech house, like, hey, I want this. I want all this cool stuff in my house, my fantasy tech house, right? Like, I want flat screen. I'll have a, nice flat screen, nice latest, greatest OLED, interactive TVs, full decked out tech house. And, solar, everything that I could think of. But I also realized, hey, this is going to cost X amount of money. Is the best use case, for that. So it's, for me, I think it's changed. I'm just, for me, I think I'd be more happier to have 10 single family houses or one multi-family or whatever. Not that sexy or great, but like we were just talking about, passive income, right? And then I know that passive income is always going to generate me X amount per month. Yeah. And then that way I can just do whatever. I can be like, all right, cool. Let me take a vacation. Let me go, hang out.
Then how about this, Erwin? Instead of hearing about your fantasy house, let's hear about, just give us a description of your fantasy lifestyle. Because that to me is fascinating. Like, you got all the money in the world. You have no stress on that responsibility from your cash flowing assets. What's your fantasy? What does this vacation look like? Let's go on that imaginary.
Oh, dude, I'd just be on vacation. I'd be hopping around island to island every day, every chance I get to travel.
So it would start with islands. So if you're like, so starting right now, we just pressed a button, bam, you've got your cash flowing assets. You can do whatever you want. We start with islands.
Yep, I go to probably, Bali, go to Maldives, go to the Philippines, just go to, go to Thailand, go all to these exotic places, and just kind of see the world, man. I mean, like, what's more better than, you can't, trying to buy experiences is kind of impossible, right? You can have money to get you there, but the experience is not something you can buy.
That's what you're looking for, is the experience.
Correct.
So what is your idea of seeing these places and having experiences? Everyone has their different stuff. We've got the like super active people that are like, I just want to like ride my mountain bike down to the side of a volcano. And you've got people like my dad just likes to walk around, like he likes Europe. He likes walking around towns and taking pictures of like old churches and like old buildings. It's like, what's your idea of these experiences?
I'd say going to the beaches, hanging out at the beach.
Oh, yeah. And laying down on the sand. Do you drink?
Yeah, man. Drink a cocktail.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what would be our cocktails if we were doing this right now? We're sitting there, you and me, on the beach, dude.
Bro, I'd say, let me see. Could be, nice, definitely some margaritas, maybe, what do we call it? Sunrise tequila.
Oh, tequila sunrise, yeah.
Yes.
Margaritas and tequila sunrise.
Yes.
So on your fantasy vacation, I'm having a sugar hangover.
Great. Great food.
Okay, what would be the food, dude? Describe the food. I'm all about fantasy meals, dude.
Oh, this
First
stuff.
meal. We're on the beach. We just each drank a margarita in somewhere like Thailand. We're like, can we get a margarita?
Dude, like,
sure, you can get a margarita. Not really our
like something like grilled shrimp, grilled lobsters. Those fresh out of the sea type of stuff. Like, oh hey man, I'm chilling here, barbecuing, eating. Kind of kicking back, like saying, like, "Oh, hey, man, this is awesome."
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's like just trying this scene where where we just kind of enjoying the view at the beach, and then like just like, "Oh, hey, John, you want to go kite surfing, or you want to go boarding?"
Yes, you want to do all the action-packed stuff. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Zip line across the island.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Like, hey, man, just go whatever you think, whatever looks interesting, go do it. It's like, hey, you want to go snorkeling? You want to go scuba diving?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I want to do those things where those people, like, you always see like the fat people on those like little underwater submarine helmet things, and they're just sitting on them. And I want to do one of those where you just like chill out on like a seat, like a scooter underwater.
Or like or ride the bicycles with the big wheels on top of the water.
Oh, dude, totally. I'm loving this vacation, dude. Just a stomach full of barbecued shrimp and margaritas, and just bicycling on water.
Yes, chilling
like
out.
Jesus.
Chilling out, like on the water, like, oh hey, you have no care in the world. Like, oh hey.
Oh, yeah, I love it. That sounds great. That sounds awesome, dude. I hope that this idea, just you talking about it out loud, like it helps refresh it, because it's refreshing it for me, like being like, oh yeah, dude, I gotta go on vacation. So great.
Oh yeah.
I haven't done one in a long time, but that sounds awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody needs a vacation, man.
Hell yeah. So let's get people to check out your short terms. Do you like having a website for them or something like that, so people can check out your rentals if they want to come stay at one of your spots?
Yeah, it's just www.infinitesuites.com, all one word.
Infinitesuites.com, all one word. Guys, check out Irwin'sInfiniteSuites.com, www.infinitesweets.com, and go stay with. What cities are they in?
Long Beach and Burbank.
Long Beach and Burbank. So if you're out in California, if you're a California local, you're like, I'll probably just I'll stay in my house and then just you just go to Burbank if I want. But if you are from out of state and you're going to come to California, dude, check out Infinite Suites and stay at one of Erwin's spots. It'd be awesome. Burbank's got great Zankou chicken. Long Beach has got a whole ton of good stuff. All you can eat sushi. It's only one of the only places in SoCal that has really good all you can eat sushi is in Long Beach. It's a great spot. Got the aquarium.
Yep, aquarium, the outlets, and then Burbank's got the IKEA.
The world famous Bob's Big Boy in IKEA, where you can go, where I've seen Drew Carey eating at the counter. Yeah.
Yep.
A lot to do. Dude, thanks for doing this. This is a blast.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. Definitely would love to, come back and do it again, man.
Oh man, me too. Hell yeah. I love our conversation. Man, it was great. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Go to Erwin's website, InfiniteSuites.com. Hit the share button. Give us a review. We would really appreciate it. Mean the world to us. And you guys be silly, have fun, and we will talk to you soon.